Have you ever felt that someone close to you wasn't showing their true face? Like there was a mask hiding something darker beneath their smile? It's a chilling feeling, the kind that makes your stomach twist and your chest tighten. You can't explain it clearly, but you know something is off. Deep down, your instincts whisper that you're standing in front of someone who doesn't want the best for you. That feeling isn't random. It's a signal, a survival instinct wired into you to protect your heart, your mind, and your life from people who drain your energy and twist your spirit. The truth is, evil doesn't always announce itself with dramatic threats or obvious harm. Most of the time it hides behind charm, politeness, and clever words. And if you aren't alert, it can slip into your life quietly, leaving scars you'll carry for years. Right now, you might think of someone in your past, maybe even someone in your present who fits this description. Someone who once made you doubt your worth. Someone who manipulated your kindness. Someone who smiled at you while secretly pulling you down. That memory isn't just pain. It's proof that you already know how dangerous it is to ignore those inner warning signs. And here's why this matters. The most successful, confident, and fulfilled people in life are not the ones who never meet evil. They're the ones who learn how to recognize it, how to guard themselves, and how to walk away with their power still intact. When you allow someone's poison to live in your space, it seeps into your decisions, your energy, and your confidence. But when you see it for what it is, when you learn the signs that reveal a person's true nature, you take back control. You no longer waste years of your life tied to someone who thrives on your pain. You stop being fooled and instead you rise above. That's the gift waiting for you if you choose to pay attention right now. Imagine the relief of waking up without second-guessing every word you say. Imagine the peace of knowing the people around you truly want to see you win. Imagine how much stronger you'll feel when you trust yourself enough to walk away from anyone who doesn't align with your growth. That's what's at stake here. This isn't just about spotting evil. This is about protecting your dreams, your happiness, and your future from those who want to steal them. So stay with me because what you'll hear in the next few minutes can transform the way you see people forever. These insights are not about fear, they are about freedom. They are not about building walls, they are about building wisdom. Each sign you learn is like a shield placed in your hands. And when you hold that shield, you stop being a target, you stop being prey. You become untouchable to those who feed on weakness. You owe it to yourself to see the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. Because once you know the signs, you can never be fooled again. You will walk with clarity, with courage, and with the kind of confidence that makes darkness step back. Stay here, stay alert, and prepare to step into a version of yourself that no evil person can control. The first sign reveals itself in the way they make you question your own reality. Evil people thrive on confusion. They twist your words, deny what you know you saw, and insist that your memory is flawed. It's not always obvious at first. Sometimes it's small comments that make you hesitate. You tell them how something made you feel, and instead of listening, they turn it back on you, suggesting you're too sensitive, too dramatic, or simply imagining things. Slowly, piece by piece, they erode your trust in yourself. And once your confidence is shaken, they gain control. Because when you doubt your own judgment, you become easier to manipulate. This is called gaslighting, and it is one of the most powerful tools of manipulation ever used. It's not just about lying, it's about rewriting your sense of truth until you can no longer tell the difference between your own thoughts and the false reality they are feeding you. Studies in psychology show how destructive this is to the human mind. When someone is constantly told that their feelings or memories are wrong, their brain adapts by lowering trust in itself. That means you second guess everything, even simple decisions. The result is paralysis. You become dependent on the person who is causing the harm because they position themselves as the only one who knows what's real. Think about the power in that. If someone can convince you that up is down and right is wrong, they can lead you anywhere. They can make you apologize for their mistakes. They can make you carry guilt that doesn't belong to you. They can make you beg for approval from someone who never intends to give it. That's why recognizing this sign is so crucial. The moment you feel your reality being pulled out from under you, you need to pause and reclaim it. You need to remind yourself that your feelings are valid, that your experiences are real, and that no one has the right to rewrite your truth. The strength to resist gaslighting doesn't come from fighting harder against their words. It comes from anchoring yourself in self-awareness. When you learn to trust your intuition and honor your emotions, their lies lose power. Confidence is the antidote. When you stand firm in what you know, when you repeat to yourself that your truth is unshakable, their manipulation collapses because their power only works when you hand over your certainty. Ask yourself, how many times have you swallowed your instincts because someone told you that you were overreacting? How many times did you silence your voice because they made you believe it didn't matter? That silence is the trap. But breaking free starts with one simple choice: to believe yourself again, to trust that inner voice that has been trying to protect you all along. Every time you choose your truth over their distortion, you rebuild your strength. You take back the part of you they tried to erase. And with every step of reclaiming, you grow harder to fool, harder to control, harder to break. This is what evil fears the most. Not your anger, not your resistance, but your clarity. Because once you see clearly, they lose their grip forever. The second sign hides in the way they drain your energy through constant negativity and subtle cruelty. Evil rarely shows itself with open attacks at the start. Instead, it slips into your life by normalizing small doses of poison, little remarks that chip away at your spirit. They might disguise it as a joke, delivered with a smile, but the words sting. They might cloak it as advice, but it feels more like judgment. And over time, those tiny cuts build scars that shape the way you see yourself. You begin to feel smaller, weaker, and unworthy, without even realizing where the weight is coming from. This pattern is no accident. It's psychological warfare. Research shows that repeated exposure to criticism and belittlement rewires the brain, creating patterns of self-doubt and low self-esteem. That's how powerful words are. They can shape your identity. When someone constantly surrounds you with negativity, you start to wear their opinions like a second skin. You hear their voice in your head even when they aren't around. That is how they take control of your life, not with chains, but with carefully placed words that sink deep into your subconscious. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. You are not what they say. Their cruelty is not a reflection of your worth. It is a projection of their emptiness. People who are secure in themselves lift others. People who carry light and courage inspire and protect. It is only those who are trapped in darkness that feel the need to pull others down to feel tall. When you understand this, their words lose their bite. You stop seeing them as truth and start seeing them for what they really are: attempts to control you through doubt. Think about how much stronger you feel when you're surrounded by people who believe in you. Think about how your energy rises when someone affirms your dreams instead of mocking them. That is the power of words used with love. And if love can build, then cruelty can destroy. The question is, which will you allow into your life? Every insult you accept without questioning is like a brick laid on your back. But every time you choose to reject those lies, you drop the weight and step taller. You have the power to protect your space. You have the power to decide which voices get to shape your mind. And when you set that boundary, when you refuse to let their negativity take root, something incredible happens. You rise above them. Their words bounce off you instead of sinking in. Their attempts to shrink you fail because you've already decided you will not live small. Remember this: the most dangerous thing about an evil person's negativity is not that it hurts you in the moment, but that it tries to convince you to stop believing in yourself. The moment you see this trick, the spell breaks. You reclaim your energy, you reclaim your voice, and you start to rebuild the unshakable confidence they tried to steal. That is how you transform from being their victim into becoming untouchable. The third sign shows itself in the way they use control disguised as care. On the surface, it may look like concern, attention, or even love, but underneath, it is about power. They want to dictate where you go, who you see, how you spend your time, and even what you dream of becoming. At first, it can feel flattering, as though someone cares so deeply about you that they want to be involved in every part of your life. But soon you realize it's not about love. It's about ownership. And the moment you surrender your independence, you begin to lose yourself piece by piece. Control is one of the most addictive forms of power. Psychology shows that people who fear their own lack of worth often compensate by dominating others. They feel safer when they can shrink the freedom of the people around them. And so they build invisible cages. The bars aren't metal. They're made of guilt, obligation, and manipulation. They tell you they only want what's best for you, but what they really want is to keep you under their influence. Their greatest fear is seeing you strong enough to walk away. The dangers that control often hides in small, seemingly harmless actions. They ask constant questions, but not out of curiosity, out of suspicion. They want to know every detail of your day, not to connect, but to monitor. They make you feel guilty for spending time on yourself, subtly suggesting that your choices are selfish if they don't include them. Over time, you adjust. You shrink your world to avoid their disapproval. You stop pursuing dreams that might upset them. You stop speaking truths that might offend them. You trade your freedom for temporary peace. But that peace is an illusion because real love does not demand submission. Real love celebrates freedom. Think about the strength of your spirit when you are free. Think about the energy that flows when no one is standing over you, controlling your every move. Freedom is the soil where dreams grow. It is the space where confidence takes root. And it is the gift that every healthy relationship should give you. When someone tries to strip that away, they are not protecting you. They are dismantling you. But the moment you recognize control for what it is, you gain the power to reject it. You can begin to reclaim your time, your choices, and your identity. And yes, it may trigger anger from the one who seeks to control you. They may accuse you of being selfish, cold, or ungrateful. But their anger is not a sign that you are wrong. It is proof that they are losing the grip they should never have had. True strength is not measured by how well you obey others. True strength is measured by how boldly you live your truth. And no evil person can tolerate someone who refuses to bow down. When you choose freedom over control, you rise above their reach. You step back into the life that belongs to you, not to them. That decision is not just an act of defiance, it is an act of self-respect, the foundation of unshakable power. The fourth sign lies in the way they lack empathy, the way their heart seems cold when yours is open. You can pour out your struggles, your fears, your deepest wounds, and instead of compassion, you are met with indifference. Sometimes they don't even pretend to care. Other times they mimic concern, but you can feel it is hollow. Their eyes don't soften, their words don't soothe, and their actions never match the performance. This absence of empathy is one of the clearest markers of an evil spirit because it reveals a soul unwilling to connect with the humanity of another. Empathy is the foundation of every healthy bond. Psychology shows that humans are wired for connection, that when we witness another's pain, our brain lights up as if we are experiencing it ourselves. This is what allows relationships to heal, to nurture, to grow. When someone lacks this ability, they're missing the very thing that makes relationships real. Instead of connection, they use people as tools. Instead of compassion, they see opportunity. Your joy becomes something to envy. Your pain becomes something to exploit. And that emptiness in them creates emptiness in you because you keep giving, hoping one day they will finally feel something real. But the tragedy of trying to awaken empathy in someone who does not have it is that it keeps you trapped. You end up bending, sacrificing, and exhausting yourself for someone who will never return what you give. And the longer you stay, the more you question your own value. You begin to wonder if maybe you don't deserve compassion, if maybe your pain really doesn't matter. That is the most dangerous lie of all because once you believe it, you stop expecting better. You settle for coldness, forgetting that warmth exists. The truth is your heart was never the problem. Your ability to feel deeply, to care, to give, that is your strength, not your weakness. The problem lies with those who cannot mirror that humanity. And once you understand this, you stop begging for love from those who are incapable of giving it. You stop waiting for empathy where there is none. Instead, you begin to protect your heart, to save your energy for those who can meet you with genuine compassion. Think of the power you reclaim when you no longer need their validation. Imagine the freedom of knowing that their lack of empathy is not proof of your unworthiness, but proof of their emptiness. When you see it that way, you no longer feel small, you feel free. You realize that protecting your heart from their indifference is not selfish, it is survival. It is the act of choosing life over slow emotional death. When you walk away from someone who cannot feel for you, you walk back into the arms of your own strength. You walk back into relationships where your joy is celebrated, where your pain is shared, where your humanity is honored. And that is where you were always meant to be. Evil people may lack empathy, but you do not. Your gift is your ability to feel. And when you protect that gift, you rise stronger, brighter, and untouchable by their emptiness. The fifth sign reveals itself in the way they take pleasure in the suffering of others. This is not always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's a subtle smile when you fail, a spark in their eyes when you're in pain, or a sense of satisfaction when something you worked hard for crumbles. Other times it's more blatant, as if your struggles are entertainment, as if your wounds are trophies. This is one of the darkest traits a person can carry. The inability to celebrate joy without secretly hoping for your downfall. It may seem impossible to believe that someone could actually find delight in another person's misery, but psychology confirms what your instincts already know. There are personalities that thrive on domination, on superiority, on feeding off the weakness of others. To them, your pain is not tragedy, it's power. When you are hurting, they feel stronger. When you lose, they feel victorious. And as long as you remain broken, they remain in control. That is why they never rush to help, why they never truly celebrate your wins, and why they always seem energized by your lowest moments. This is not normal. Healthy people feel joy when others succeed. Healthy hearts reach out when others are hurting. That is what connection looks like. When someone instead takes pleasure in your pain, it reveals a heart poisoned by envy and malice. If you allow yourself to stay near it, you start to absorb the message that your suffering is natural, that your setbacks are inevitable, and that you will never rise beyond the reach of their shadow. This is the slow erosion of hope, and it is deadly to the spirit. But your spirit is not meant to live under their gaze. You were not created to be someone else's source of entertainment or control. You were created to rise, to thrive, to walk in the fullness of your power. And the moment you see through this twisted pleasure, you begin to break free. Because once you recognize that your pain is being fed upon, you refuse to give it freely. You decide that your setbacks will no longer be a show for their satisfaction. Instead, you choose to turn your struggles into fuel, your pain into growth, your wounds into wisdom. Think about how unstoppable you become when you no longer fear failure, when you no longer allow others to use your pain as their victory. Imagine the strength of standing tall even when life tries to break you, not to prove something to them, but to prove something to yourself. Every time you rise after being knocked down, you strip away their power. Every time you refuse to stay broken, you show them that their dark satisfaction is wasted. Your greatest act of defiance against someone who delights in your suffering is to rise anyway, to succeed anyway, to smile anyway, because nothing destroys the grip of evil faster than resilience. And nothing builds your unshakable confidence faster than proving to yourself that no one, no matter how dark their heart, can stop the light inside you. When you live this truth, you become a force they cannot touch, a presence they cannot dim, and a soul that refuses to break. When you understand these signs, a new question arises. What do you do with this knowledge? Because awareness without action changes nothing. Seeing the truth is only the beginning. The real transformation happens when you decide that your life, your peace, and your future matter too much to let evil remain in your circle. This decision is not easy. It takes courage to step back from people you once trusted. It takes strength to walk away from relationships that